What is James Dolan's malfunction? And I know that that's obviously a negatively infused question, but I've heard from people who know him, he's a generous guy, or he can be a generous guy, and he is been around from the New York community. But to come in and give you video of how he was ambushed by somebody set up for TMZ, and I think one of your cohorts even pointed out, well, you walked into you took the bait. To not take responsibility, it seems, over and over again. You've met him, you've interviewed him. What is wired with him, Michael?
You know, I've had lunch with him a couple of times. You know, the Garden sets up lunch, you know, because I have a radio show in New York and whatever. And there's a part of him, and those that have worked for him would probably blanch at me saying this, really charming. You know, ask about the kids and stuff. He's funny and stuff like that. And I've told him a couple of times, why don't you act like this in public? And he always says, well, I don't care what people think about me. But he does care. I mean, he said that yesterday, too, I don't care. He cares greatly. That's why he's banned the Daily News from conference calls and things like that. Listen, I'm not going to play dime store psychologist, Rich. I just think he's a rich guy who doesn't like to be told what to do, doesn't like to be criticized. He has very thin skin, and coming from a guy whose skin is translucent, I know thin skin. This is a guy who does not like to be told you're wrong, and he probably hasn't been told he's wrong a lot in his life. So I think when a guy says sell the team, it infuriates him. He can't walk away. A guy writes him a letter, says he doesn't like what he's doing. He writes back and is nasty to him. Again, why that personality trait is there? Maybe it's just somebody who's been, you know, born rich and expects people to, you know, acquiesce to his every move. And people just don't, when you own the Knicks or the Rangers or the Jets or the Giants or the Yankees or the Mets, you're going to be held accountable. That was another thing that jumped out. I don't know if this made you kind of sit up as well. When I kind of gave him an out to say, you know, this is a public trust. No, it's not. I own it. Public doesn't own it. I own it. And in a way, as it was transpiring, I wasn't trying to save him, but I felt badly for him because the more he talked, I think the more he made it look bad. I mean, banning the guy. Rich, he can't see a Billy Joel concert anymore at the Garden. He's banned from that. Michael Bublé out. It's not just the Knicks. He can never walk in the building. He can't go to the Big East today. Because he said sell the team. I mean, it's extreme.
It is. It's not only just extreme. It's not New York, Michael. It's not New York. I mean, people scream things at each other walking down the streets in New York City, and obviously that you could say that about many American cities, certainly in the Northeast. But in New York City, this is frequently the method of communication, certainly if you are somebody that comes across as highfalutin. And it is a New York institution, the New York Knicks, and all those places. That definitely made me sit up straight and get more outraged. And also him saying essentially Bill Simmons had an agenda for talking about him wanting to sell the team because, he might be tight with the Celtics. I mean, that was also outrageous, and also passing off any responsibility about the welcome mat for the Knicks or whether anybody wants to step on it. So I ask you this, is he really thinking of selling the team or not? I mean, how real is that?
I mean, I dropped a ridiculous $6 billion offer to him, some hedge fund guy, and he said he's not. If he sells the team now, he's going to look bad. But remember, Dave Gettleman said, I didn't sign Odell to trade him, and he ends up trading him. So I don't know if you could really believe public figures. And one final thing on the Dolan situation, Rich, the discourse in this country, in sports and in politics, has become so uncivil. And I told this to Dolan when he was on the show. Don't sit in the stands. You're going to hear it. I mean, he does have access to luxury boxes. Just put yourself up in a luxury box, and you don't have to deal with this. But he said, "Well, I own the team, and I like that seat." Okay, then people are going to yell stuff at you, and you will walk through the stands.
Yeah, and get used to it.
That's what's going to happen in this country now. We have no editing valve.
Well, I got to tell you, though, I mean, Steve Ballmer and Jeannie Buss both sit in the stands here in Staples when the Clippers and Lakers play. And obviously things aren't going well for the Lakers, but Lakers fans feel like they're connected to the team, and the Buss family connected to the city. And there's no problems like that here in Los Angeles. You might say it's a little bit more of a laid-back society, but with what's happening with the Lakers right now, the Los Lakers fans are freaking out, despite the win in Chicago last night.
But the Lakers, though, have championships to fall back on. At least, you know, you don't have to be Methuselah to remember them. The last Knicks championship was 1973, and 18 years of just hard basketball. He's going to hear it if he sits in the stands. Again, if he chooses to sit in the stands and have people yell, that's great. But if you're going to snap on somebody who said sell the team that he somehow interpreted as quit, I just think I thought it was such an overreaction. I thought that when he agreed to come in, because we started working on it the previous day, I thought that he would reach out to the guy, but they came up with this conspiracy theory. You know, like the grassy knoll that the guys like walked over. They didn't run. You saw the tape.
Yeah.
They didn't run. They walked over at the same pace as everybody else, and maybe they were trying to get him. But you can only be gotten if you allow yourself to be gotten. And he took the bait.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.